All right, so if you've been following along, I was recently banned from all Mohegan Tribe, all Mohegan Sun properties. I'm not allowed to contact any people that work at the Mohegan Tribe. Mohegan put in writing that I am a threat after 25 years of an immaculate track record at the Mohegan Sun, at the Mohegan Tribe. And so their claim in writing about me being a threat is completely unfounded. It is slander and libel. So this is my Hendon Mob page, right? So there's a national database that tracks most poker tournaments like that people play in, and they automatically post your results online. They do this for all the players. Mohegan, for whatever reason, isn't compliant with that or doesn't comply with that and doesn't post their results online. I'm not sure why. But so I'm making this video just to show, my history as a poker player, what the only reason that I go to the casinos is to play poker, right? We should have our own lodge, right? Like Doug Polk in Texas, because, some of the best poker players in the country, in the world, are in the Northeast. We have some of the most competitive poker tournaments. If you played a poker tournament in the Northeast, you know that people are fucking cowboys out here, and everybody plays like any two cards. You know what I mean? It's a blast, right? So anyway, these tournament wins came around the time that, or not wins, but cashes, I guess, came around the time that the defense is telling me that I have mental health issues. I'm having a mental health breakdown. And so, I'm not being permitted to see my son. I haven't seen my son since February 27th, 2026. And before that, I saw him in December of 2025. So I was taking my frustration and just going and playing poker because for me, poker is a mental exercise of discipline, right? And so when I'm basically just at my lowest or at my worst, I go to poker to just prove to myself that I can keep it together. I don't know, whatever. So anyway, my point in making this is the Mohegan Tribe wanted to label me a threat, and that's just completely out of line. Nobody at the Mohegan, at the tribe, right, who has known me over the years could ever consider me to be a threat. And then when you have Mohegan, putting in writing that because I called and asked about the safety and well-being of my son because there's been a lot of concerning behaviors, and I have a legal obligation outside of that as my son's father to look out for his safety and best interests. And then they label me a threat for doing so. That's a red flag. When I reach out to the Mohegan Tribe attorney who told me to basically shut up, issue a notice of redaction, and remove all my social media posts that implicate Mohegan Sun and trafficking kids, and you tell me to be quiet, that's a red flag. When I tell you that I will comply with all of your requests and all I need in return is a simple letter saying that my son's not being abused, and you don't do that, that's a red flag. You'll notice number 32, my name, Thomas Kimball. This is the Mohegan Best of the Best poker tournament that you have to qualify for. You have to show results in tournaments to qualify for this, right? And then I was banned subsequent in April, right, around the time that the mother is claiming that we're going to have tribal mediation through Mohegan, potentially peace offering, whatever else she was saying, through the tribe. And I'm still not seeing my son, so I leave a voicemail for Lynn Malerba, the chief of Mohegan, inquiring about the safety of my son, asking if Mohegan Sun's trafficking kids. This was after I had asked for her intervention via voicemail and I didn't get a response. And then I got banned. So you tell me what's normal about this. If anyone has any questions about the last few years that we've been at the family courts in Massachusetts, how little we've seen each other, how many red flags there are with that, why no one from the Westfield Police Department is willing to do a wellness check on my son. But when my son's with me, the Newington police have no problem showing up at my door to check on my son, right? There's a lot of red flags. So anyway, all this essentially because I'm still not seeing my son, right? I asked the I asked the person who's court ordered to do the supervised visits, right? That's a whole other conversation. Why do I have supervised visits? I asked her for her license, right? Just to show me that she's legitimate. And she said that she couldn't do the visits. So again, I'm filing a notice of appeal with the lower court and an appeals with the appeals court. And we're still pre-trial. This is severe psychological harm to a minor child, toddler child, for separating him from his biological father, right, at this age while he's developing rapidly. And so it is absolutely psychological trauma, psychological abuse of my son. That's already transpired. After 30 days, the child's psyche can fracture, and it's just, this is horrible what's going on. It is ridiculous that I can't protect my son in this moment. And I, am really hopeful that we can get to some type of logic and reasoning in all this, because messing with the child's psyche is probably one of the worst things that you can do. And on top of that, the mother having me go through a mental health evaluation after I asked the court to have her go through a mental health evaluation. And then they denied that request. And then when they asked me if I would do it, I said, yeah, but I think, we should evaluate the mother as well and have multiple different analysts or whatever, professionals, so that the court can have a well-rounded opinion, right? Because these decisions are so critical going forward in terms of raising a child. And what did the court do? They said, nope, just you, right? Just me. I have to have a psych evaluation, and the mother gets to pay for it. Oh, well, guess what? That didn't go in my favor. And the shrink said that I'm paranoid. Is that right? I can't wait to ask her what I'm paranoid about and have that discussion in blunt detail and talk about her forensic scientific process about how she evaluates people that she's interviewing. Can't wait. Can't wait to have that conversation. Anyway, I think we covered a lot of good topics. People should be asking questions about Mohegan Sun. People should be asking questions about the family courts. Yeah, I don't know. My next move outside the family courts and the appeals court is to bring litigation against the individuals who lied about me on paper at Mohegan Sun, because that's just threatening and intimidation and dirty pool and all that stuff.